Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. It's Friday. We're closing out. Well, some of us are closing out the week. For me, I have a full slate tomorrow, and then Sunday obviously kicks off a new week for me. Today is a little different. Today is wifey's birthday, so we're going to be trying to celebrate that a little bit later. But I try my best to optimize my time, not in a way that burns me out, but in a way that feeds off of my passion and literally sustains momentum, so that I'm not pushing and pulling as hard each and every day. I take time for family. I take time for my kids. I take time for my wife. I take time to take care of me, the gym, and other things I need to do as far as meditation and reading and learning to stimulate my mind and my brain. But I'm constantly engaged. So I'm excited about today, and the segment for today. This is Quantum Physics Friday, and I have a unique spin on it, an approach on it that I think is extremely important. That I want you guys to really take notice of and try to see how that applies in your life and what you may be doing that is hindering you without your knowledge of it. Before I get into today's lesson, I guess you want to call it or whatever, look, I want to remind you that Critical Mass, my 20th book, is on deck. It's about to be replaced in some ways. All of my books are always available in some form, but I Am is being released in days. I'm excited about it. And it's the second book in a 6-book series about personal development, personal empowerment, personal growth, and raising the level of that you live. I'm a firm believer that you must live life on the level of your design, at the level of your design. So many people are living life at the level of the environment they're in. And we're going to talk about that somewhat today as well. But they're living based off of predisposed paradigms, based off of limiting beliefs that were created in environments when they were growing up, and they haven't had a paradigm shift. And so this is what these series about. Critical Mass is my 20th book. I Am will be my 21st book. I'm excited about them. I am excited about the responses and the feedback that I'm getting, that people are really getting something out of these books. And that was my goal, is to help people. So you can go to the link. The link is in there. Click the link, go to the page. Not only can you get Critical Mass, now, when you get it from our site, you get it at a significant discount than if you were to get it at Barnes and Noble. All my books are available: Barnes and Noble, Sony Books, Amazon, Kobo Books. It's a bunch of other ones too. So they're fully distributed books. But when you get them from us, you get them at a discounted price. And we're going to continue that practice with I Am. But right now, you can go to that link, click that link, get the book. And you can make a choice if you want to get the bundle. The bundle is obviously going to grow. Before the end of the year, you'll have book number 3. And I'm going to tell you about that later. I don't want to overstep and kind of diminish steal the thunder of I Am. But I'm already excited about, once this drops, immediately starting on the 3rd book in the series, which will be my 22nd book. And that's that. But anyway, you can get the bundle again at a discounted price and have both books and be well on your way. And so definitely check that out. There's also a site solely for I Am, not a site, a page solely for I Am on the site, but you can go to that link. Finally, for those people who may be wondering what it's like to work with Rick Wallace, what is it that makes Rick Wallace special? What's different? Why should I even aspire to have, give him some of my time? And that's what you're doing. You're literally investing your time when you work with anybody for any reason, for anything. And if you're wondering what it's like, why do I do this? Why do I spend so much time in it? And why do people actually pay me to do what I do? Here's your chance. All you have to do is complete the questionnaire that's also in the description box. Complete it, email it to the email address that's designated. The support team at the Visionetics Institute will contact you after receiving your email and schedule a time for you where you will have a free, that's right, it's on me, a free one-on-one breakthrough session with yours truly. We're going to literally get into where you're at, where you desire to go, what's in between that, what's inhibiting you, what are some of the things that are holding you back, what are some of the things you can immediately start doing to change that situation. And this can be done in 30 minutes or so. I normally go over, it's set for 30 minutes. I normally go over because I am passionate about what I do, and I want people to win. And no, one session is not going to fix everything. One session, most of my clients are on a year contract. They are actually working with me for an entire 52 weeks, which is a minimum of 52 sessions. I have some clients that get more than that out of me because I do accept crisis phone calls or whatever. So sometimes we go into things and I don't charge for those. That's a part of the contract. But I have some people who work with me for as short as 12 weeks. But yeah, it's not going to happen in one sitting. But what you will get in that one sitting is hopefully an epiphany. But if not an epiphany, a clarity of what you can do to change your situation, because there's no such thing as not being able to change a situation. And so that's that. Now, let's move on, because I'm a little behind in the day. Like I said, it's baby's birthday, so got a lot going on. Everybody's got their own little thing they want to do for them in the house. Plus, I'm homeschooling, and so that's another thing that's going on. So we've got all that going on, and it is what it is. I'm excited about it. I am thrilled about what's happening with my family. It starts with the family. It starts with her. It starts with my kids. And then it cascades down to anybody I can get my hands on, my voice on, my energy on. It's to literally create new expectations in the lives of people based off of the idea of something greater. And so that's what Visionetics is about. Visionetics is about changing the vision, beginning with your self-image, your self-concept, then moving into developing self-esteem, self-confidence out of the vision. You're creating a vision for your life. You're creating the vision in a manner in which the vision is so clear that it becomes real. And I literally teach that, and there are a number of books that are unbelievable in talking about this. There's one called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, written in 1906, if I'm not mistaken. You definitely want to read it. It's a very quick but unbelievably powerful read. Of course, everyone knows about Think and Grow Rich by Wallace D. Wallace. By Napoleon Hill. Another one is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. That one, again, speaks to the very things we're talking about now and we'll be talking about later on. A book called The Answer by David Asseroff. So just some powerful books that go off into the critical mass, my book. But we're going to talk about that. So today, I'll talk about, we talked about in quantum physics, how the entire universe is made of the same substance. But we also talk about the complexity. We also talk about the complexity of this matter, because we in physics, we see the matter, but we don't understand the complexity and dynamic. At least we didn't used to. Even Einstein called it weird and spooky. But now we're starting to understand things like entanglement, where everything is connected, and then you're definitely connected. We learned from experiments done in the 50s where a scientist took DNA cells from the mouth of a human subject, and put them in a test tube, and found a way to connect that test tube up to electrodes that were connected to a polygraph machine. Then connected the subject to a separate polygraph machine, took the test tube with the polygraph 7 miles away, expose the subject to stimuli by way of video recorder. Back then it was, the spinning film, whatever you call it now. I forgot. I actually lived in a time where that's how we watched film in classroom, was with these reels. And anyway, the goal was to stimulate ideas and thoughts. So this guy had been a pilot in World War II and flew Psy.D missions, many Psy.D missions. So they played the filming of World War II Psy.D missions for him, and obviously that was going to evoke an emotional response. The crazy thing was the test tube reading was producing on the polygraph machine the same identical response that the subject was producing while watching the film. And we now know this to be entanglement, that there's a connectivity. But see, entanglement doesn't just exist between me and all the things that, quote unquote, define my existence. There's a connectivity between anyone that we encounter. In fact, there's a universal connectivity where we're all in some way connected, because why? We're all made of the same matter. And what we're going to find is that in studying the atom, we found an entire world inside of what we thought was the smallest piece of matter in existence. We found an entire world inside of the atom. We also found something very unique when studying the atom. We found that the atom had a level of consciousness, that in this small thing, there was an entire universe that knew everything that the big universe knew. And so we started to look at it, and we found that it literally evolved and changed. We could measure the distance, but we couldn't measure the speed. We could measure the speed, but we couldn't measure the location. We could never get all the measurements simultaneously. Then we discovered that it knew when it was going to be measured. Whenever the scientists decided that it was going to measure the atom began to respond. It began to move. And so they tested it to make sure they were seeing what they were seeing, that the atom knew before they actually started testing, it was able to tell that it was going to be tested. Then they even took it another step further, and they found out, now these are scientists, these are not spiritualists, these are not mystics, these are scientists, that everything has to be measured and proven. And what they did in a controlled environment was they found out that even when they thought about measuring the dynamics within the atom knew and responded to it. It knew what they were thinking. And so now we're talking about the entanglement of consciousness. And so what we find is that no matter what type of matter it is, it's built of the same thing. At the very minute level, subatomic particles. So something smaller than an atom, subatomic particles. But what we find even deeper, what we call the zero field or the Eschick field, is what a lot of us refer to as the mind of God. There's nothing but pure consciousness. And it knows everything, and it's everywhere. And we also know in the same sense that our thoughts have physicality. What are you talking about? Our thoughts, every thought you produce has a frequency. It has a frequency, and if it has a frequency, it has a vibration. If it has a vibration, it's emitting energy. If it's emitting energy, it has impact. And I've told you before that energy is resonant. And what is resonant? Resonance is this thing that says, I can only attract that which is like me. I resonate with things like me. I am resonant with only things like me. And to simplify that, energy attracts like energy. That's why you can't be in a negative space and attract positivity. That's why you cannot be in a negative space and attract positivity. You have to be on the level, the energy level of the thing you're trying to attract. So that if you look at the Hertz scale and you look at what your thoughts and your mental state produce, you'll look down and below 250, which is absolutely low vibration stuff. You got hatred, envy, malice, anger, sadness, a bunch of, and as you climb the Hertz scale on a mind and state level, you start moving up towards gratitude, love, gratitude. Love is at 500 Hertz, gratitude somewhere 550 to 650. And then you just start climbing up. At the highest level of energy that you emit is actually in the state of enlightenment, when you're learning something new. when you are experiencing, that's the excitement you get when something new hits you. You're raising your level because you're taking in something and evolving. Anytime you evolve, you raise your level. And so that's why it's important to learn something new every day. That's why it's important to seek out knowledge. That's why it's important to take the cap off. Some of us have such closed minds that we automatically cap off our frequencies and vibrations so they can't rise at a level. You fighting for life and death for years, trying to achieve something, and don't realize that you've locked it out by being closed-minded. There are a bunch of people that I come to and I simplify it for them because not everybody can understand the entire spectrum of quantum physics and how it happens. So what I tell them is, when you come in, is you got to stop locking out. You got to see outside of the box of how you think it should be. See what I'm saying? Even when you're closed-minded about something you want. Say, for instance, you want to start a business and you've done some research in the business. And you've done research in the business, and the people who have done it before you did A, B, C, and D, right? And they did it in that order. And so now you're out there and you're trying to get it done in that order. And you are so closed-minded because you have said this is how it's done, that you have literally done a couple of things that work against you in the quantum world or in the world of faith, for those who are of a certain faith or a religion. Faith and quantum physics are the same thing. One just explains in a scientific manner the dynamics of how faith operates, but faith sets everything in motion because your faith is a result of your beliefs and it produces the things that manifest. But anyway, okay, so you got you got A, B, C, D, right? And that's how they did it. And you've made up in your mind that it has to be done A, B, C, and D. You've capped off, you shut down your creativity, you shut down your imagination. The two most powerful things you have as a human being are your creativity and your imagination, things that will allow you to produce something that does not already exist. So now you've limited yourself. But check it out. You limit yourself. Now that's the practical way of viewing it, but here's the dynamic way of viewing it. Because you shut your mind off, you cannot grow mentally. So you're not open to new ideas. You can't be taught. You're not open to creating a new way to do it because the new way to do it may work better for your type of mentality, skill set, talent than it did for those people. You're not open to an idea. So what happens? You cut off and cap off and level off the energy spectrum. So you can't raise your energy level to the level that you need to raise it to that's equal to the thing you're trying to get. So for instance, if I'm going after something, I've got to become familiar with the energy level, the frequency it's on. When I become familiar with the frequency it's on, I've got to line up with it so I can resonate with it, and then it will automatically be drawn to me and I to it. This has happened in your life before, and you've looked at it and say, that's kind of weird. And you'll say, thank you, God, but you never give any idea to how God did it or how God was in part of it or what was happening in the universe. You just say, man, have you ever been sitting up and there's something that's been on your mind and I'll give you a prime example. I'm not gonna ask you if you do it. You can relate to this story. That was a long time that I got tired of because my office, my primary office is in the home. And sometimes you can work so hard, and I do this a lot, to where home and job starts to merge and you start to lose sight of when you're supposed to be working and when you're supposed to be spending time with family. And so what I'll do when I get like that is I'll set up a satellite office somewhere where I can take my laptop and, some things that I know I'm going to need for the day and go work somewhere else, get a new environment, clear my head, and then let myself air out from turning my entire home into a workspace. And so it was more during these times where I was doing this, and I was doing it at a Starbucks in Dallas. I was in Dallas at the time. And, there was people that always come in because I was always there. I'm always there. Actually, I'm up 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning. And during this time, I would be at Starbucks in Dallas. It's in the West Village area. If you've ever been to Dallas, been to West Village, you know how huge this Starbucks is. It has 100 and something people capacity. It's huge. And so, I'm there early in the morning. I want to get the seat I want. I'm kind of systematic, methodical. Like I want the seat I want everything. So I'm there, and I'm getting started in the morning before most people are even turning over, making their last turnover in their bed. That's how I like to get my day started. But I'm in there. So when people come in for their daily coffee before they head off to work, they see me enough to where I start to become familiar. So they start speaking, right? And I have people coming, hey, how you doing? And I mean all different races, genders, and everything. Everybody's speaking, hey, how you doing? Whatever. And then every now and somebody stop in and say, hey, I see you here and you're here every day. What do you do? And whatever. But gone. But I've had this happen to me several times where I'm sitting there and I'm contemplating, am I going to make this next move? And the reason I have to contemplate making moves is because once I commit to it, I don't let it go. I don't quit. I don't give up. I don't turn around. I don't surrender. I'm going to get it or I'm going to die trying. So I have to be careful what I commit to, because I don't want to lock myself into something I'm not passionate about, that I'm not going to be happy pursuing just for the sake of getting it done. It has to be something that means something. But so I'm sitting there and I'm deciding, am I going to do it? And the moment, I'm talking about within 30 minutes of me saying it's a done deal, I'm making this move. God has passed me weeks and spoke to me every day, stops and say, hey, man, I pass you every day. And I'm just sitting up and I'm looking up here and I'm just wondering, what do you do? And I tell him what I do. And he said, man, either he is a person that I need to connect with to do this thing that I just said I'm going to do, or he knows the person. He said, man, here's the card, or he'll say, man, call me, or whatever. And that's happened over and over again. And it's happened not just in that environment, but a lot of times. But I mean, you got people that are passing you every day, but because you haven't committed to it, you haven't opened your mind to it, you still haven't done it. It doesn't mean anything. The energies aren't the same. But when you align with it, now in thought and expectation, in state of being, when you can really truly align with something is you can see it and visualize. That's what visionetics is. It's to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and you can see it clearly. When you do that, you will also do something that's extraordinary, because the mind cannot distinguish between what is being imagined and what is real. The moment you can visualize it clearly enough that it looks real, the mind said, we're doing this. Guess what else happens? The body responds. What do you say? I'm saying that you will feel at that moment just how you will feel when you're living in that moment in the future. That feeling of existing in that reality down the line, you're feeling it now. And that's because the mind is what generates the chemicals, and the shift in chemical balances to represent a current reality. So you have imagined it in your mind at a level that the mind says, look at what we're doing. And then the body says, cool, awesome. And you create this feeling. Now you're emitting this energy, because those feelings emit energy from every cell in your body. Now it's going to resonate with the energy of the other person who also has a unique capacity in that area. That's how you draw people to you. So what am I getting at? What is all this about? It's about what I wanted to talk to you about in the first place. You cannot conduct positive energy when you're constantly surrounded by negative people. A lot of you are trying to pull off some unbelievable things, but you've got the people around you that are simply pulling you down. See, energy can be conducted. Anybody that knows anything about electricity knows energy can be conducted, but it has the right, first of all, has to have the right conductor. Water is a great conductor, but it's highly uncontrollable. Metal is a conductor, and you can control a lot greater with metal. Energy and air would also, energy can be conducted through the air. It's very difficult to control. Ask anybody that's been struck by lightning. But you've got to find conductors. When you have the right circle around you, you have conductors that will resonate with you and allow the energy to be conducted. Here's the beautiful part. When you have positive people around you and you're emitting positive energy, not only do they help conduct the energy and they all feed off of it and then reciprocate, but they magnify the energy and send the message to the universe in a big bold print of what you're demanding, and the universe will pay whatever price you demand of it if you meet the demands of the universe. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. A lot of you are trying to accomplish some extraordinary things in some very negative environments. And you're wondering why you're struggling, why you can't, because you have people around you who are emitting low frequencies, and because you have to be on their frequency or close to it to communicate and reason and have a relationship, you find yourself coming down a lot. There are some people right now watching this that you have a person or people that when you see their number and their name pop up on your phone, your whole spirit falls. And you know I'm telling the truth. You look at it and go, oh God. And yet you have that person in your circle. A person that has the capacity to immediately adjust your frequency downward, and you got them in your circle. You're taking phone calls from them. You're hanging out with them, going to games and happy hour, and some of you going to church with them, sitting on the same pew with them. And you know they're robbing you of an elevated existence, and yet you've got to, it is absolutely impossible to conduct positive energy surrounded by negative people. You're going to have to adjust your circle. That's one of the reasons why we can say with great confidence that you're going to literally be the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. Now, we don't talk about the mechanisms and the dynamics on how we can scale that, improve that, but we can literally prove it in a number of different ways, starting with the energy being emitted. We know how this is happening. Also, the conversation is working as a program mechanism that is programming you to think a certain way, and how you think is what you produce. Who you are around consistently is going to have a massive impact on what you're able to do in this world. You want to do great things, but you're around mediocre people who are satisfied with their mediocrity. No, you've got to find the conduits through which you can conduct high energy levels, high frequencies, high vibrations, and reap the benefits of that interaction. Nothing is left to chance in this design, in this unbelievably splendid design that was created by the universal consciousness that is infinite, that we call God, that simply brought things into existence from itself, because everything is made of the same thing. Think about it. Everything's made of the same thing. So when we say that God, I say this daily, constantly. It's a part of my meditation. It's a constant, a part of my constant affirmation, and it's that the mind of God is in me, around me, and it serves me now. The mind of God is in me and around me, and I can call upon it for my slightest need. I am never moved, or will I accept any obstacle or undesirable circumstance, because it is an illusion. There can be no obstacle or undesirable circumstance to the mind of God, which is in me and around me and serves me now. And it's constantly, it's absolutely nothing out there. The universal consciousness, the infinite knowledge and mind of God, the zero field, where you reach pure consciousness, where all things are known and understood. All things are known and understood. There is a level of consciousness where all things are known and understood, and you have access to it. But you got people blocking it. You got people misdirecting you. You got people constantly making you anxious, constantly whispering in your ear the sweet nothings of negativity that make you worry, that create stress, that create doubt. And you're wondering why you can't climb, why you can't elevate, why you can't move to the next level. You've got to construct a circle of people who believe, people who desire to see not only themselves, but you rise, people who are climbing and ascending into something new. You are supposed to be experiencing life at the next level. You're supposed to be living life at the level of your design. And when you study the design is unbelievably remarkable. And we just float on through, never ever testing it to its limits, playing it safe, ducking behind corners, looking for comfort, instead of raising our energy levels, instead of taking on the challenge of enlightenment, instead of opening up our minds and our imaginations and our creativity to come up with solutions to some of the enigmatic issues that we're facing on a regular basis. We have the ability to totally change this world, and we're sitting around letting the world change us. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to leave this with you. Like I said, if you haven't gotten Critical Mass, you'll get a lot more of what you got today and then some. You can take that link, go get the book, and even get the bundle with the upcoming book included. I am all on the same page at a discounted price. And for those of you who don't want to get it off our site, you can go to any other sites. It's on Barnes & Noble. It's on Amazon. It's at Sony Books. It's at Kobo Books. Goodreads. It's a bunch of places you can get it. But if you get it from us, you do get it at a discounted price. And for those of you that it matters to, you also get it signed by yours truly. And, you know, the thing is, we live in a world where nothing is really impossible, but we constantly whine and complain about the impossibilities that we face. We've got to do a better job of that. I'm going to get off of here. There's so much I have to get done in a very short period of time. I really, really thank you guys for stopping in. Share the video, rewatch the video, take some notes, shoot me some questions about something that I may have said that may not have been lucidly explained. And shoot me an email message or inbox message. Inbox messages take longer. Emails are responded to normally within the same day. And ask questions. But the best way to do it is to sign up for this free one-time breakthrough session. That's where you can sign up. So with that being said, look, I'm gonna get off here. As I always say, I live my life on full so that I can be certain that I'll die on E. I'm challenging you to do the same thing. With that note, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You guys have a great day.